Ho, ho, ho! Merry Christmas, everyone! Hello, everyone. Sheek here with another Transformers review, and today is my Christmas special. Yes, this I did not get on Christmas, obviously. Got him a decent ways ago, but was really looking forward to him for so longingly looking at him at TC's Rockets for like the past, I don't know, ever since I got back from deployment, or maybe before I left for deployment when I also got Energy on Optimus Prime. It's like, but pass on him. I have been wanting him for a long time. Didn't watch a whole much of the show, watched a little bit, wouldn't mind finishing at some point, but, yeah, they had another one there, but it turned out it was opened. I wanted the unopened one. It costs a bit more, but hey, the satisfaction of being the first person to open something is always really awesome. I mean, there is a chance that it was open and it was put back in packaging perfectly, but I don't think so, because if you can see in there really closely, there's a rubber band that's somewhat deteriorated and hopefully didn't damage the plastic. So, without further ado, let's get him opened up. Well, wait, one last thing. Let's take a quick look at the packaging. And he does have electron lights and sound, batteries not included, fortunately, considering this was like from 2001, I do believe, somewhere around there. Let's see, is there a year? Is there a year? Oh wow, $50 originally. Oh, not a bad deal. Hasbro, that is more recent, so I guess they haven't changed their logo in quite some time. Made in China, 2001. Yes, I was right, 2001. This is skill level 4. Oh, character card. Considering that the box is kind of beat up, I might actually go ahead and cut that out. But, model, we will put out the fires of evil. Ha ha ha. Yeah, very corny, but he is a fire truck. I think this might have been the first Optimus Prime that was a fire truck and not just a regular truck. Optimus Prime is the wise and courageous leader of the Autobots. He loves all creatures and will fight with every last spark of energy to defend the planet Earth and its inhabitants from Megatron and his evil plan of conquest and destruction. He dreams of lasting peace on the planet and in the universe. He has battled the Predacons many times and saved countless lives. His ferocity is legendary. His anger against injustice blazes like a 6-alarm fire within him. Yeah, so it was the Predacons. It was Autobots versus Predacons in this show. Very interesting. Megatron and his evil Predacons arrive on Earth with one goal: destruction. This causes a secret force of goodness to emerge. The heroic Autobots led by Optimus Prime. They have hidden their existence by taking the forms of vehicles, but now they reveal their true nature to fight Megatron and protect Earth. They are Transformers, robots in disguise. Okay. Yeah, now fine. Oh yeah. Oh, and there's another thing, another figure that I'd like to get. Speaking of which, they did do a reissue of these guys, like a $400-something box set. Maybe it would have actually been better to get the box set when I saw it, but it's like, it's a little expensive, and I used store credit because I've turned in some of my, unfortunately, larger figures because they took up too much space, and it did free up some funds, and I got this guy. Anyway, but if you get Ultra Magnus, who's his brother, which actually looks really goofy, look how small his upper body, and pretty much super long legs, and really small upper body, but who cares? He combines with his brother to form Omega Prime. So yeah, enough stalling, let's go ahead and get him opened up. Here we have Fire Convoy, aka Optimus Prime, out of the box in his fire truck mode, and it is pretty cool. Although, after fiddling around with him for a bit, he doesn't seem to hold together 100% the best in his fire truck mode. And you see there's Japanese and then Cybertron, and he rolls quite well. He does have lights and sounds. I did take the liberty of putting in 2 AAA batteries. And the tires are held in with pins, and they're rubber. Fortunately, they are not deteriorated like the rubber band that was on the ladder. But if you look, it does say Fire Convoy on them, which is pretty cool. Big Autobot emblems on the sides. Lights right there. Press this button, flip out hoses, press this button on the back, flip out missile launchers, which Whoa, spring-loaded, and actually fire, well, with a pretty decent amount of force. Don't know exactly how far they fire, but from what I can gather, probably pretty far. So that's pretty cool. And you just pop them in. There we are. And pop in the last one. And then you have to do them in order, but you just press some, flip them a little back like that, and it latches into place. Then, of course, you want to do this with support, because he is a little bit of a parts former. He does it in a cool way, so I'll let it pass. But this tabbed in, so it's doesn't support the ratcheting the greatest, so you kind of want to support it, but it does ratchet all the way around and can rotate all around like this, and then you can see where the operator would sit, which is kind of cool, and what looks like a ladder to get up to here. It does look slightly yellowed, so it looks more like a cream color rather than perfectly white. So as long as it's not like super brittle or anything like that, I don't care too much. And it's not like really yellow like one side of the copter of Energon Optimus Prime. So that's a plus. He also has 3 modes. No, 1, 2, 3. Yeah, 4 modes, technically speaking, and then you can also convert him to combine with to make Omega Prime, although since I don't have the Ultra Magnus, I cannot do that, so that part of the instructions is kind of pointless. And one accessory that doesn't really say where to put it, or if it's really supposed to go anywhere, is his little handgun, which is done in a dark gunmetal gray, with a spinning hose reel thing. I don't really know what it's supposed to be. I'm pretty sure that's supposed to be, and I guess fires whatever needs to fire out of that gun. I didn't watch enough of the show. I think this could also shoot water and fire retardant and stuff, but it was also a blaster too, or standard gun. And this can rotate up and extend all the way out, and for the most part it can support the weight, although I have a feeling after a while this isn't going to be able to support this. But man, does this go up pretty high enough to where it goes up above my set, so to speak. And then now one thing, since the plastic does deform a little bit, it's most likely to pop off the rail when it's somewhere in the middle, but it does plunk into place in the fully extended and fully collapsed positions. So that's pretty nice. Not nice, and see, that's what happens if you don't support it, just pops off. Which I guess is okay, because, and also it does have another mode, a weird base mode thing, which I guess I'll also show off. But pretty much the first thing you want to do to get him into his normal robot mode is you want to just pretty much disconnect the cab from the rest of the truck. And it says to pretty much pull this off, but for whatever reason, at least on my copy anyway, these hold on fairly well, and then pretty much the back end just kind of undoes itself when I pull that off. And then you can just go ahead and get this into its constituent parts. Just pull apart, and then you have what becomes shoulder guards or shoulder pads, what becomes forearms, and then what becomes either feet or shoulder rocket launchers, depending on what mode you're putting them into. And then this, of course, just forms like the upper body of the Ultra Robot mode, I think. Yeah, so he has Base Robot, which is this is Base Robot, Mega Robot, and Ultra Robot. And then there's a base mode for all of his accessories that you can do. So, to get him into his Base Robot mode, you just want to flip these panels around, and then you just untab that, rotate down, rotate down, rotate down, unpeg that, rotate around, flip panel out, rotate around, close up, flip up, rotate around, close up. Got his lower body done. Then you just untab or unpeg those, extend, rotate, collapse down, rotate, rotate up for this mode. And also make sure not to get super fingerprints on this. As you can see, just barely touching it, got fingerprints all over it. That's what that Chrome looks nice if you don't touch it. As soon as you touch it, then it looks bad. Which is why I hardly ever mess with that third-party Optimus figure. It's awesome, but the Chrome! Anyway, yeah, enough about that. Oh, I did forget to show off the sound effects. He does have a siren. He does have Autobots transform. And more fingerprints. Quit touching the Chrome. And it doesn't do any particular order. It's really annoying. Fire, yeah, for the guns. Siren again. Yep. Okay. And I guess since he does have I guess since he has a mega robot mode, I guess but that's what the Maximals said. So it's like, okay, whatever. And I think he says one more other thing. Okay, I think that's all he says, but yeah, like I said, it's completely random, so that is a little annoying rather than going in a predictable sequence. But, or maybe it is predictable and I just am too, what's it called, just not paying enough attention to know to figure out exactly. But you can give him his puny little gun, which he can hold in his little hands, and he looks kind of cool. I will admit, posing him is a little difficult in this mode because his joints are really tight. One, he's never been opened, and two, it's meant to support the larger robot. And okay, so for articulation, the head is on a ball joint. He can look down that far, up that far. Gets a wee bit of wiggly waggly. You can move his antenna a little bit. And like I said, you can do a full 360. Anyway, he does have chrome on his eyes, and which is not a bad place to put chrome because you can't really touch the eyes easily. Definitely very anime style, which, I mean, it is from an anime, to be fair. And I feel like this kind of reminds me a little bit of the style of like Jinrai in the because you know the faux windows, because you know the windows, well, on him, on this guy anyway, are on the legs, whereas on Jinrai it would have been on the back. Anyway, so he does have kind of weird feet. To be fair, it is to allow for the ultra robot mode. Okay, well, anyway, articulation wise, like it showed off the head, his arms can go out that far. You can do a full 360, bicep rotation. Oh, and about 90-degree bend at the elbow, and his hands have a tendency to slide in. There is wrist rotation, but probably somewhat limited based on what you can get with this in the way. He does have a hip rotation, although the backpack can get in the way a little bit, but you can lift that up out of the way a little bit. And then, without trying to warp the plastic, you can get about that much outward motion. About that far forward, that far back, and knee rotation instead of thigh, but that's also for transformation. And about a little less than 90-degree bend at the knee, and I guess it's technically ankle tilted because it is on a ball joint, and you can rotate the foot around as well. And that's about it for articulation. Let's see if I can get him to stand like this. Yeah, you can actually stand fairly well. Okay, yeah, here we are. Now, I guess we can go ahead and get him into his ultra mode. Or wait, nah, let's get him into his base mode first. That will be interesting, and then I can worry about putting stuff on him. So yeah, let's do base mode first. The base mode is actually relatively straightforward. So you take this part right here, which I was previously separated, but you just flip these down, flip in, flip out, set down, take these, flip, rotate, flip, and point like guns, I suppose, or hoses, whatever, and then attach right in there. Here we are, and then attach right there, and then same for the other side. And then take this thing right here and just see this right there. They plug in right there just like they would for fire truck mode. You just press that down, get this all flush like it would for fire truck mode. Press these down or orientate it however you wish. Maybe you have them up so that they're like guns. And you also flip this up. It says it's supposed to go like flush with here, but I really... Okay, it does. Okay, never mind. I was afraid I was going to break it. But yeah, it goes mostly flush with that. You pull this up, rotate this around. Okay, rotate this up all the way because this thing is really tall. And press the button, get those out, and rotate out. And here we have the base mode. Yes, that is a base, apparently. But it's something that uses all of his accessories when they're not combined on him. So I guess that's something that you can do. Yeah, so that's about it for that. So let's go ahead and get him into his Mega Robot mode. Well, since some of the things are already kind of on their way, for the Ultra mode, Mega mode, pull these apart, rotate down, and then peg into his shoulder, like so. And then same for the other side. Come on, stand up. Ball joint must be a little bit looser on that one leg, perhaps. Anyway, but same thing on this side. You just peg it in like so. Rotate that down. And then it's easier to do it when it's kind of like this anyway, but you want to peg those two pegs into these two holes and make sure this is the proper arm. Then you just close it up, just the opposite of what you would do for fire truck mode, which is pretty cool. It kind of turns itself inside out. Then rotate the thumb down, and then the same for the other side. So just remove that gun and get the other arm on. And with that, we have him in his Ultra mode. Unfortunately, with him in his Ultra mode, he doesn't seem to be able to hold his gun. I mean, granted, there's a bunch of holes you could plug it into, but they're, I mean, with such a tiny gun, it seems kind of pointless, especially when you notice that he has a bunch of rocket launchers on his shoulders, so that's pretty cool. He does look a little more ape-like because he has really long arms and relatively short legs. So to get him into Ultra mode, there's no point in taking these off. Just leave them there. Just wiggle off, then just extend, flip up, and then that right in there pegs into the bottom of his foot, like so. That pegs into right there, and that should hold it in place. And then same for the other side. Flip that up, press into place, clip tab into place, or peg into place, and then I'm going to go ahead and take, well, actually, let's do that last, just to be on the safe side. Then we extend his body like that, although it ends up only needing to be up about like this much, although, oh, and you also want to pull his shoulders out. So pretty much you do that and that. Rotate the siren down, and then you take this, okay, I guess we better tilt up the camera a bit. Take this right here, this whole assembly. It's going to be a little bit easier probably to do this to begin with from the get-go, but rotate right here, then pivot this around, and then you can bring this back around behind, just so it's easier to get this whole thing on. So what's interesting is that these 3 holes line up with these 3 pegs up here, and believe me, it's not the easiest thing to do in the world, especially when it feels like the weight of the whole thing is just trying to pull it off, as well as the head from inside trying to push it off from the inside. So you kind of just let that go down, and that clips into 2 slots on his chest, and you just fold that up right there, and then that just goes in, lines up pretty much with his normal crotch, which is pretty cool. So that's like that. And the last thing to do is to fill out his shoulders by clipping on, and then once you push it flush, clip on, push flush, and here we have him in his ultra robot mode, and he is pretty cool. Okay, and then also just make sure that's orientated properly, and he looks really cool. Articulation doesn't really change a whole lot. The main difference is that with this big old ladder in the way, this can no longer do a full 360. The hands are on a ball joint. There is the articulation at the thumb, and then he no longer has the ankle tiltage because of the way the feet are designed. So he loses a little bit of articulation. He doesn't really gain anything. And then the head right here is on a ball joint. It can do a full 360. Lots of red, chrome on the sides, silver for his head, and then chrome for his eyes. So, I mean, definitely less chrome on the chest, so overall less chrome visible. Then chrome Autobot emblem with a red circle, and then I haven't watched enough of the show to know exactly what this signifies, but it does open up. Maybe there's his spark in there, maybe it's the Matrix, I really don't know, but it does flip up, and it looks almost like a bandolier, so that's pretty cool. Like I said, since articulation's pretty much the same, I'm not going to bother showing it all off, although I will show off, I guess, what you can kind of do with this. And as you can see, with the way it's done, it's just that it feels like it's just wanting to pull off of his whole body. So it's definitely, what's it called? Feels like it's a little precarious as far as wanting to stay in place. And then of course, you can't flip this whole thing around, but doing so is probably gonna start to pop things loose. Up here, as you can see, it's, if you notice up in there, his head's already starting to poke out, so it is really a pain to keep all this in place. So I guess you just gently slide that down, and but for the most part, everything does seem to want to stay in place. It's just, I feel like the design could have been a little bit better, where it funks into a mid position rather than just counting on the friction of the pegs to hold everything in place. and a clip up in the front. I feel like if they had a mid latched position, that might work a little better. And I guess I better flip these out to make it look a little more like guns, but there we are. Depth perception might be a little bit off with this, but whatever. And then of course you have the missiles, so that's really cool. Yeah, definitely a cool addition to my collection. I wouldn't say that he's necessarily one of the best ones in my collection, but definitely still worth the well, I don't know if it's necessarily worth the price tag, or completely worth the price tag. Might have been better buying him used, but then again, considering how much difficulty I'm having with him as is, it might be actually for the best that I ended up getting him new rather than pre-used or opened. But oh, I know I should have done comparisons earlier, but I'll go ahead and do a comparison with Energon Optimus Prime. And for comparison, like I said, Energon Optimus Prime, who is actually about the same height, but it feels like he has significantly less bulk despite his nickname of Fatimus Prime. I mean, he does look in some ways a little more filled out, but he still looks cooler overall. Like, he seems more, I guess, better proportioned. Like, his head is actually bigger rather than just like a helmet over his normal head. But it's, I mean, they're both good in their own respects. I don't have to worry about parts falling off, whereas with him, it looks like I might have to worry about his whole upper body. Sort of like, it actually does remind me a little bit of the Siege Ultra Magnus or Earthrise. Pretty much the same deal of how this goes up over the body, although I feel like the Ultra Magnus does it a little bit better. Anyway, let's bring him out. But as you can see, they don't make them like they used to, which in some ways is good, and in other ways not so good. Like the sturdy plastic, rubber tires, like all that, electronics, lights and sounds, although that's, considering how cringy some of the voices are, not the best thing in the world. But if we had this level of quality with today's modern engineering, great things could be done, and they have done some great things, but more often than not they miss the mark. Still good, still cool, but not in this heavy, what's the right word, but not the same presence as one of these guys. Anyway, this has been a review of Transformers Robots in Disguise 2001 Fire Convoy, aka Optimus Prime. I hope you liked this review, and I hope you have a very Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year and all that good stuff. And until next time, have a good one, everyone.